continue. No issue.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, Professor.
Please,
thank you.
Please proceed. Yeah.
Okay.
Good afternoon, one and all. Here for the second session, we have eminent speaker Ashok Sethuraman sir. He has completed BSc BTech in Instrument Technology, and he has overall experience of 41 years. He is a BE impaneled accredited energy auditor by the BEE, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, the Ministry of Power Government of India. And he is the Central Council member of IAEMP, Indian Association of Energy Management Professionals. He conducted the energy audits in around 400 industries in India and abroad. He has 41 years of field experience in industry maintenance, projects, and commissioning. He had professional training in India and the abroad and worked for few years in abroad. And he visited abroad recently to assess the cleaner production mechanism under the World Bank project. He writes energy conservation articles in many national technical magazines like Electrical India, Coal India, Textile Journal, and in BEE, IAEMP websites, etc. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving your time here, and you are with us. I request to Ashok Sethuraman sir, please start the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Good morning to one and all. In fact, today I'm just going to talk about energy monitoring of utilities. Bureau of Energy Efficiency always says, monitor your energy to target the reduction next. So especially the energy monitoring in the production machines is more important. The production team, it definitely takes care. What is the raw material and what is the output, they take care. Because the final product output is the, ultimately it is the sale and the total turnover of the company. Whereas the energy monitoring, the maintenance, electrical, mechanical, and all the, it's a collective monitoring of all the departments, especially in the utilities. And thanks to our Dr. Sanjay Khat, he suggested, let us concentrate. I am trying to concentrate on blowers and compressors where the Pascal monitoring is more important. This is what I just want to focus here. The Pascal monitoring. Pascal means it's Newton per meter squared. That is, normally we say before it was 1 bar and it came to 1 kg per cm squared, and then we talk in terms of Pascal. 1 Pascal, almost 102 Pascals, kilopascals, it gives almost 1 bar or 1 kg per cm squared. A slight difference is that around 14.2 to 14.5 psi between a bar and a kg. Why I am talking about the Pascal now is, you just go through the nameplate. This is the name. See, this nameplate, study of nameplate itself will give the what is the equipment specifications, what is the in and out of the equipment. Now, all the while the industries, they have been checking for all the blowers, all the compressors, not the compressors, for the blowers. They are talking in terms of the flow only, in terms of CFM or meter cube per hour. This is one important. But this let us say this take this case of this nameplate, 6400 CFM at 6.5 mm of water column. That is, sorry, 65 mm of water column. Almost it is equal to 650 Pascal. See, this Pascal is more important. This defines the static pressure in the system, what is generated, what is distributed, and what is taken at the end point. This is where we are going to concentrate. So in case of any equipment, you can take what are all the measurable things, the monitoring aspects of any equipment, either it's a production or a utility. Let us concentrate on utilities. The blower's efficiency, practically we find it's around 40% only. Why this is at 40%? How this can be improved upon? This is the study based on the Pascal monitoring. This Pascal monitoring, it is related to the RPM of the blower, then the Pascal, then the flow, then the input kilowatt that is given by the motor, and what is the fan absorbed kilowatt at the fan shaft. All these aspects will come into it. We'll just go in depth as it. So it is a question of revisiting to the basics of blowers. All along, wherever we find the commissioning report, we have commissioned say 100, say 20 fans or 40 fans, let us say in a textile mill or in any other industry where we have dust collection blowers. These dust collection blowers in all the engineering industries, we call it as a, or in the HVAC segment, we use air washer units or air handling units. Everywhere the blower is the same name, but the application is different, so the names are also given as different. If you find in the HVAC segment, we call it as an air handling unit. If it is in the case of maintaining the premises at different RH and temperature, there we call it as an air washer unit. And if it is the case of a foundry or an engineering segment, we call it as the dust collection. The dust that is there in the premises, it is there in the equipments, it has to be collected and has to be blown out. So dust collection or automatic waste collection blowers or equipments in textile mills or foundries, it is used here. So let us try to concentrate on a given blower. What is a fan performance curve says, and what does it need? What is the inputs on the x-axis and y-axis on the fan performance curve, especially on the static pressure and on the flow and on the RPM and ultimately on the kilowatt. See, we have to have, you can see the total fan efficiency is ultimately the fan, what is the deliverable from the fan is in meter cube per second. Let us say it's a it is used in the air circuit only. Air is the medium of flow. The air at meter cube volume in meter cube per second and the total pressure in water column. This I will just go in length in detail. What is the total pressure? What is the static pressure? And what is the dynamic pressure? This is where we can definitely monitor and optimize any of the blower systems in the industry. In fact, in my last session, I was just telling you, almost 25% energy savings is done in a textile mill, out of which 10% came from a waste collection system only. Variable torque loads in a given industry, they have an ample scope to reduce, to optimize the RPM, to optimize the static Pascal pressure, and then for the given flow rate, for the given flow demand from the equipment, this can be optimized to achieve an excellent savings of 20 to 30%. It is seen in many of the case studies where you have done the energy audits. So ultimately the fan efficiency is volume into the total pressure divided by the 102, that is, as I was telling you, 102 kilopascal is 1 bar. That, see, some constants are coming up, and the power input at the shaft of the fan. What is delivered at the input of the motor is one input, and what is delivered at the motor shaft, that shows the motor efficiency. And cascading the motor efficiency also, ultimately the blower efficiency of the system, practically those say the OEMs or the industry measures say it is around 60 to 70%. We practically find it is around 50% only. We will go in depth where this can be improved upon on the impeller, energy efficiency impeller, all the retrofits like a VFD or resizing of pulley and belts, and what all the things can be done on the existing blower to improve upon the efficiency. A typical 5 HP blower, you can see this is the Sankey diagram for the given blower. The Sankey diagram is the energy flow diagram for the given blower. Input kilowatt is almost 3.7 kilowatt, that is 5 HP. Motor is around 90%, drive is around 94%, and the fan is around 70%. Ultimately 1.5 kilowatt, say 20%, say almost for 2 HP, almost 40% is lost in the form of heat only. When air is being compressed, either in the case of blower and the compressor, the heat of rejection or the heat of compression that is happening during the blower or in the compressor, this is the area, gray area, if that is to be either the waste heat to be recovered, as our Dr. Nagesh was talking about in the waste heat recovery, especially on the compressor heat. That is one aspect. But how much we can reduce the waste so as to increase the output of the blower, this is the aspect we are trying to discuss here. As such, if you take up a breakup of the system, see a system is the multiplication of the inefficiency of the each subsystem is the total efficiency of the system. This is where we find it's a 55 kilowatt, it's on the textile mill waste collection blower. I'm just concentrating on different case studies. It's a waste collection blower. This waste collection blower, it's a centrifugal backward curved fan, but the type of the blade that is given in the blower is, it is only flat type. So automatically the efficiency of the impeller itself is around 60% only. VFD efficiency almost it's around 98%. The motor efficiency at a 55 kilowatt it's around 90%, and the belt, bearing and pulley here we have 8% loss. So totally the system efficiency, we have to concentrate on the system. We have to focus on the system efficiency, that is only at 50%. Now replacing this the existing system, replacing the impeller, straight away it improved by 20%. From a flat profile, we have gone for a flat inclined profile and curved impeller, centrifugally backward but curved impeller, and it is almost nearer to the airfoil profile, almost 20%. And you can see the the losses in all the subsystems. VFD is 98, motor at 94. It's an IE3 motor which gives 94% at a 55 kilowatt. Definitely it is possible, and it is being done in many of the industries. That's what our EESL is doing this on the NMRP, National Motor Replacement Programs, to improve the efficiency of the motors, to reduce the energy losses of the given motors. You have to, there is no other way, because it's a motor, it's like a black box, it's a system. You have to replace the motor to go for IE3 motor, which is made VFD compatible to retrofit with the VFD. That is, it is made compliant with the VFD operations. Then comes the pulley and the belt and bearing loss. It is maintained at 2% only instead of 8%. And the fan efficiency from 60 it has gone to 75. Totally it's almost 70%. So 20% jump in the efficiency of the given ployer system. This is the area we wanted to concentrate in the industry. Wherever the replacement is needed on the existing inefficient subsystems, it has to be done, or a retrofit has to be done to achieve the better efficiency point in the fan performance curve. There are two schools of thought here. There is the energy conservation aspects for a given industry says, on the existing fan, what can be done? Replacing the impeller or retrofitting a VFD or improving the resizing of the pulleys and belts. And these are all the areas we can achieve almost 30 to 40%. Whereas some of the industries, the green building industries, they go for straight away easy fans. Only thing, maybe this existing retrofit or the replacement of subsystems will cost less than a lakh, means the easy fan replacement, it costs more than 4 lakhs. The initial cost is very much more. It is a total replacement. But here we are not comparing apple to apple in this fab. EC fan, electronically commutated fan, you see, instead of a 115 kilowatt fan, 20 HP fan, they will have 4 fans maintaining the same almost this one. It is a cascaded efficiency of the fan. 4 sets of easy fans are operating in one single fan. Okay, that is the new concept that is coming up. But a typical Indian, we always think what can be done on the existing system to be improved upon. So the EC fan, in fact, it has exposed the energy losses on the existing centrifugal fans, and these losses are around 30 to 40%. This can be definitely be improved upon, and we will see how this can be restored upon, the efficiency can be restored upon, and the motor's torque and the load torque, this GD squared value of the given load, that has to be optimized, and that has to be matched to the motor's rating and capacity. This is the point, the crux point in this blower efficiency discussions. You can take the impeller. I was telling you before, the impeller, which is inefficient aspects of blower building segment, which is either a forward curved or just a backward curved, just a backward curved fan. If that is replaced, I'm having some video, there is some network issue. I'm just switching off my video, please. Okay. If you find, if you are replacing with the existing impeller with a plenum fan or a plug fan, this is an excellent fan. It is more or less like an aerofoil fan only, but the outer casing is not there, and it is operating in an excellent, it's a high volume at a low pressure, and this will deliver almost an excellent efficiency. We will see in depth. That is what the CAE case study or the Carrier Corporation says. We can replace the existing blower with this plug fan or a plenum fan, and automatically you can see an efficiency improvement more than 20%. Thanks to this Carrier air conditioning, this one case study. This is a fan which is delivering 25,000 CFM at almost 5 inches of water column, almost say 125 mm of water column, 1250 pascals. That is the deliverable pascal from the fan as such. If you see the forward curved fan, it consumes almost 33. The brake horsepower, that is the input power to the fan, that is 33. You can see on this fifth column, fan BHP. And if it is an airfoil fan, it is 32. If it is a belt driven plenum fan or a plug fan, it is only 27. And it's a direct driven means it is 28. And the motor HP wanted for this application is, normally all the fans want 40 HP except the belt driven plenum fan, which needs only 30 HP. So straight away you can save on the inventory, you can save on the motor capacity, you can save on the switchgear capacities, and ultimately there is a straight away from 40 HP, say from 40 HP, it has the rated capacity may be 40, but the running BHP is only around 27. This much of energy saving is possible in this aspect. We can try this on this VFD coupled plug fan study. Definitely this can give almost this much of savings. To identify the savings and to monitor the savings, to achieve the savings, we have to monitor this. This is what in any of the waste collection plant, the industries have become very much active now, especially on the monitoring. They are collecting this LED based 1 inch, that is 1 foot by 1 foot LED at a placed at a height of 14 feet. The whole department can monitor what is the pascal. This is on a textile mill waste collection system. They are able to see on the header what is it. It is almost 1000 pascal. And what is this? The decide or the required at the machine end is only 600 pascal. So how much this can be done? So digitally in situ measurement can be fixed like this type of header monitoring, or it's a portable kit, this testo type or any of the branded this portable meters are available. It can measure in terms of pascal, and you can say what pascal you are monitoring at this fan as such, at this capacity. Coming to the static dynamic pressure in the piping, this is the main point apart from the flow we are discussing about. You can see when the flow rate is from left to right, one is the velocity, the other one is the density. Why I am talking about density, I will let you know later as such. The density of air at 20 degrees, it is at 1.1, means the same density of air at 45 degrees, it's only 1.09. Straight away 10% drop is there in the density. You mean to say the relative density. So density of the medium also is a constitution for assessing the efficiency. That is one aspect. Then if you measure the static, it is just measured on the periphery of the pipe. That is the static. If the same probe is inserted into the center of the system, and we call it sometimes it is technically also called as Anu bar, which can measure both the static and dynamic. The dynamic shows the velocity aspects and P dynamic, pressure dynamic and pressure static. This is the total pressure. So any fan is defined by the total pressure. And normally the industries, for the convenience sake, the OEMs or the industries, they always give what is the total fan efficiency and the fan static efficiency. Both the factors they give, whichever is measurable and monitorable by the industry, you measure it and just check the efficiency of your fan as such. This pascal is more important not only in the industries, where the engineering industry or textile industry or any other industry, but it is very much important in the HVAC industry. Because of this COVID situation, the internal air quality is more important, more critical now. If the blower is getting choked, that is the HEPA filters, high efficiency particulate filters that is used in the blowers are getting choked, automatically you will find so much of pressure drop will happen across the blower. The pressure drop, the pressure will build up across the blower, means automatically the flow comes down. So the monitoring of pressure across the HEPA filters, across the filters in the blower is more important to achieve a better changes within the air conditioned premises. If the blower is not pumping air, at the required static pressure, straight away the staleness or the air sickness comes in, and automatically the IAQ of the given department, the CO2 monitoring, we are maintaining around 900 ppm, around 1000 ppm, that definitely comes to problem. That definitely shoots up as such. So ultimately, the static pressure of a given blower is more important in the HVAC segment as well. That is to be monitored as such. This is see, I am just trying to share the existing case studies where we have done almost many hundreds of audits we have done in the building segments, in the industry segments. This is a fresher fan duct which is kept on the open terrace of a building. It's a hospital building where it is kept on the open terrace. You find so much of blockage in the HEPA filters. Ultimately, the airflow across the air is being sucked by the fan. The suction pressure or the vacuum pressure measured by the fan is only the static pressure Pascal, and ultimately that will be dropped. What is there in the atmosphere, it is not able to be sucked by the fan because the filters are all choked. And this is where we are trying to suggest to the industry or even to the building segments, go for a pre-filter, daily cleanable and washable with a SS type, Netlan type pre-filter and a PU type mesh filter to clean the as a pre-filter to the existing HEPA filter, and it has to be daily be maintained. As long as you maintain the filters, pre-filters daily, definitely the internal system, the conditioned premises, RH and temperature and the air changes and the internal air quality will be very much be within the limits and norms. Technically speaking, the fan performance curve, what is designed, you can see the system curve with the system effect. The OEM gives a fan curve with the system curve which says what is designed and what is calculated. What is calculated is at almost 10 inches of water column, we get almost 1400 CFM at 10 inches of water column. But when the system resistance or the static pressure is increasing due to the narrowed ducts, that is there put from the end to end in the main plenum, from the main air conditioning chiller and blower to the end of the air conditioned premises. If there is a system resistance, automatically the static pressure increases, and ultimately instead of 14,000 CFM, it can deliver only 12,000 CFM at 14 inches water column. So ultimately this 14 inches, 10 inches to 14 inches drop is there because of the static pressure drop across the filters. This is the area which can be done with IoT monitoring also. Thanks to our Sunil Chhatre, he has given an excellent IoT macro view of IoT wherever it can be embedded. The devices can be embedded on the existing systems, either in the hospitals or the hospitality segments like hotels. These are all the areas where the devices can be put in, and these devices can prompt the user or the manager or the energy manager to take immediate action. Instead of going for a breakdown, he can take the corrective action immediately. Coming to the Pascal discussion, I am just it's a deviated topic only, but it is also important. The charity begins at home. Likewise, the conservation also, or the LPG conservation also begins at home. This Pascal monitoring, especially in the industries, it can have straight away 20 to 30% savings on their variable torque loads, and this is possible in the house also. This static monitoring, as a say, I will just leave it to the academics. This can be done in your college kitchen also. You have to take a T connection from your LPG cylinder, and in the T connection you insert your Pascal gauge. Normally it is supposed to the LPG from the after the regulator, the LPG is given at around 280 mm of water column only is the pressure before it is getting pre-mixed to the air and goes for flame. This I am talking to the domestic LPG cylinder. This 2800 Pascal, it is not fixed, it is not steady. When the cylinder is full, it almost goes to 3000 plus, and when the cylinder goes to empty, the liquefied petroleum gas or the vapor pressure what we are talking about, automatically it goes to 2200 also. But thanks to this retrofit device, I went for this two-stage regulator. See, what we do in the house, automatically it will be done in the college or it will be done in the industry. The charity or the energy conservation begins at home only. This I have done almost some 7 years back, and I am able to, the government gives almost 12 cylinders annual subsidy quota, but I am maintaining only from 6 cylinders I was maintaining at 2014. After that I am maintaining only 4 cylinders I am drawing from the government quota. This is where millions of homes have been already, they have retrofitted this type of two-stage regulator. They can monitor the LPG level as well as they can maintain the pressure, the static pressure from the output pressure, delivery pressure from the regulator to the hose to the stove. Automatically, see, this is giving an excellent savings. See, for me, it gave a savings of more than 33%. But normally, traditionally, it is said, conservatively, the savings is said as more than 10% energy savings, LPG savings can be achieved at a cost of only 500 rupees. The regulator which I bought for 500 rupees in 2014, now it is costing 2000 rupees. But still, the energy conservation or the LPG conservation can be done from the college. If you do the study and the trending of this LPG static Pascal pressure in your college premises, you can definitely educate the institution or the authorities, LPG authorities to the government. This I have been following with the government also, but this is not happening for the past 7 years. It is a collective submission or education by the educational monitoring and this trending of all these Pascal parameters, all these energy parameters. We can give back to the society, we can give back to the government, we can improve upon it. All these details I am just sharing it in my website energymeasuretosave.com. You can go at your leisure and you can see it for yourself. The detailed case studies are there available, not only in the house, it is done in the hotels, it is done in the industry as well as such. Coming to the static pressure, see, the static pressure is the system resistance. The system resistance is the sum of the static pressure losses that is happening in the system. This static pressure, if it is happening due to friction or it is happening due to the configuration of ducts, let us say you are having a blower at the air conditioning end and at 100 feet the duct is going. Normally A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2, area into velocity. Automatically that is maintained in all the places. You start with a 2 feet by 2 feet at the start of the main plenum, and ultimately it will end at the tail end, it will be at 1 feet by 1 feet. The velocity will be improved by reduction of area. So ultimately the velocity has to be maintained in the system to achieve the better air changes. The system resistance varies as with the square of the volume of airflow across the system. This is as per the fan's affinity laws. We are trying to attach the fan affinity laws not only for the kilowatt, it is for the static Pascal, it is for the flow rate, and it is for the speed of the RPM, that is the flow. So for the existing centrifugal type fan energy conservation measures, what can be done? Choosing the right type of impeller for the given fan. You go to the industry for energy audit, you just open up you tell the industry to just open the cover to see what is the type of impeller, how it is made, what is the MOC, the material of construction, what is it, whether it is a centrifugally backward or it's a forward code impeller or it's a radial type impeller or it's a propeller type impeller or it is a aerofoil type impeller. All these inputs will definitely show where is the scope for energy saving. Then reducing the system resistance. In many of the textile mills, instead of the T&D laws, which I was telling in the previous session, the transmission to distribution laws that is happening, whatever that is generated in the air conditioning humidification plant, that is not delivered at the end point because the duct loss is more. Many of the air conditioning humidification plant vendors, they just improved the ducts. Instead of a ordinary GI duct, they have gone for a FRP duct, that too circular type of duct at a bigger size, duct size. Automatically the system resistance dropped down from end to end, and this also improved the efficiency, total system efficiency improvements. So we are trying to operate the blower or the axial flow fan. It's all the purpose is same. The direction may be different, but the purpose is same. It is axial flow fan is also following what is the centrifugal aspects of the fan affinity laws with a dead band. That is okay. But the best efficiency point of the fan performance curve can be achieved by putting the VFD and by resizing the pulley and bells. Automatically this is possible. So maintaining the fan regularly and maintaining the tip clearance. This tip clearance is a critical area where the vena contracta point, if it is given more, then the loss is there between 10 to 20% also it is happening. So instead of a damper effect, damper is the least efficient, whereas a VFD is the best efficient. Coming to the impellers, this backward curved impeller almost 79%, whereas a radial impeller at 69%. Many of the exhaust fans they are using for this radial type. Forward code in some of the HVAC installations before, now I'm telling some 10 years back, all the old buildings, in many of the buildings, they are using these forward code fans, which is at 60%. If they replace with airfoil blade, especially on the HVAC segment, straight away they can save around 20% just by the changing of impeller, replacing the impeller. So Bureau of Energy Efficiency gives lot of inputs to not only to the energy managers and auditors through their guidebooks and through the refresher materials. These are all the points we have to see in the industry, and we have to educate the industry. It's reverse education to the industry. The industry is always vendor centric. They always listen to the OEM. But as an energy auditor, we can also give our inputs to improve the health of the machines in the industry. Ultimately, that is energy saving for the industry. Coming to the variable torque loads, RPM measurement is very critical, especially on all the blowers and all the type of centrifugal pumps. Maybe it's a centrifugal blower or an axial flow fan, definitely. At 90% of RPM, say 1500 RPM fan, 4-pole motor, if I am operating at 1350 only at 90%, I am able to achieve a savings of almost 27%. The power drop, the power reduction is 27%, energy saving is possible. At 2% reduction of motor speed, subject to the optimum static pressure and the flow that is required by the load end, 6% power savings is possible, and at 5% reduction on the motor speed, straight away 14% savings is possible. So VFD coupled with resizing of these pulleys, definitely the energy savings is, VFD alone can achieve some amount of savings. Let us say 70% of savings is achieved. The balance 30% of savings can be achieved by resizing these pulleys and belts, and totally 100% energy savings is possible. I mean to say 30% means 100% of the 30% can be achievable by this VFD and pulley resizing. Whereas with only VFD means only 20% is 20%, that is the out of 30%, only 20% is possible. This is a typical study. It is on the chocolate factory, Cadbury's chocolate factory, done at Mandalay, India, Sri City. Our Mr. Subramaniam, the belt engineering, belt expert, he was sharing this impact. In fact, these are all the studies we have taken from the industry. It's almost 3 years back. June 2018, it has been done. You can see it's a 40 HP blower running at 1478 RPM at 50 Hertz. We are able to operate the fan RPM. You can see on the 5th line or the 6th line, the fan RPM is operated at 850 RPM. Previously, it was operated at 48 Hertz. Now it is operated at 40 Hertz. The energy savings of the KWH monitored by the company for 8 days, and before and after, we could see almost 35% energy savings is possible on the same existing impeller. It is purely by the resizing of the pulleys and the VFD, the flexibility of the veracity of the VFD is put to use in this application, and straight away 35% is done, savings is done, and it is a critical application. They have to maintain a temperature and RH at 22 degrees, especially it's a chocolate factory where you cannot have any risk with the air changes. But having taken this study and they are running this for the past 3 years at 35% energy savings, and still the factory is running and the air circulation is achieved. It is not only for the comfort zone I am talking about, it is for the critical application like blower ID fan impeller, ID fan blower for a boiler, or for a critical application like a air washer industry, or for a blower industry for this type of food processing industry, where the air input and output for the given industry, the air changes within the premises is more important to maintain the hygieneness for the food processing. Coming to the system, it is a closed loop control system, especially on a waste collection blower in a textile mill. The blower needs, or the carding machine needs, only 600 Pascal. The header can be maintained at 800 Pascal. And you can see the primary filter, you can see the secondary filter. This exhaust blower, what is there, it is sucking the Pascal, the air from the equipment, and throwing to the atmosphere. Here you find the suction pressure at the negative pressure kept at the carding machine is only at 600, whereas the exhaust fan is operating at 2200 Pascal. This is a big loss. This is the transmission or the distribution loss is so big. How this can be corrected upon? I'll just show you the, thanks to this BE knowledge transfer platform in the textile mills, some big textile group has shared this one case study. Normally we find the negative pressure required by the machine supplier says 600 Pascal, whereas the duct loss here it is 600 Pascals more. That is why we always say optimize your duct sizes, make the duct sizes smaller, and let us reduce all the bends and sharp bends to reduce the Pascal losses. The compressed air, the the kg loss from 6 bar to 7 bar, it is seen, but the Pascal loss from 600 Pascal to 700 Pascal or 800 Pascal, it is not seen by the individual. This is where we have to monitor the Pascal to maintain this, and we can maintain the same blower instead of 2200 Pascal, we can maintain the same blower at 1600 Pascal also, and it can from 2200 to 1600 means straight away 25% is possible saving in the existing waste collection systems, not only in the textile mill. It is all used in the foundries also on the flume extraction point, and in all the waste that is the dust collection blowers, especially used in the fettling aspects on the foundries and on the engineering segments. This can be achieved as such. So why this VFD is put to a blower means, when the blower is put to recirculation, straight away 100% only is the consumption. There is no energy saving here. Whereas if the blower is throttled by a damper control at the delivery of the blower, 70% consumption is there. If it is put on cycle control, switching on and off, that is the best way of control what we do in our domestic fridge, switching on and off our this one. This is where also now the inverter type VFD also has come for the fridge compressor also. Instead of switching on and off on the thermostat, this inverter still reduces the kilowatt or the watt savings in our domestic fridges. Likewise, cycle control, the VFD control, the variable speed drive, that consumes only 10% at the starting of flow rate. Even at 50% of the flow rate, this consumes only 20% of the input power. At 80% of the flow rate, this consumes only 50%. This is the main purpose of putting the VFD on the blower. Whichever industry has not put it, you immediately put the VFD, and you can see achieve the savings based on the Pascal requirement and based on the flow requirement from the load end. Coming to the impeller, what all I have been talking before is about the centrifugal impellers. This is an axial flow fan impeller. Many of the textile mills are implementing this. A previous impeller, it's a gravity die cast at fan blade, which was almost 35 to 40 kgs. This impeller, it's a 12,200 mm dia. This is replaced with a, instead of a 8 leaf or 8 leaf, this is replaced with 18 leaf. Higher the blades, better is the CFM and better is the static. It is a pressure die casted impeller. This is replaced with a pressure die casted impeller. Straight away, the textile mills are saving around 15 to 20% by this change, by this swap. In some textile mills where the plenum size is less, they can go for a aerofoil type FRP blade, where it is not a hollow FRP, it is a thick FRP. Normally, it is glass reinforced FRP. It is giving a fiber reinforced, where the glass reinforcement will definitely increase the weight of the fan, but the aerofoil profile of the fan will achieve an excellent savings equal to this of almost 15 to 20% is achievable. But what is the problem with all the textile mills and the OEMs is they measure only the flow. If you measure the static pressure, are you maintaining the same 30,000 CFM at 600 Pascal before and after? If you are able to measure the Pascal before and after, then you are 100% convinced I am getting the energy savings achieved. So kindly confirm this, please. Normally, in some of the industries, like a booster fan, they have two fans in series where high resistance is there, that it induces high resistance, and if you want to increase the flow, automatically the static pressure increases at the when two fans are in series. But many of the applications in the industries, in the exhaust or in the suction or in the air washer, they have parallel fans where the system resistance is low, and two fans in parallel can give an excellent CFM at a very low static pressure. Normally, two fans in series, some of the industries, let us say out of 10 industries, maybe 2 industries only may need this type of this one, fans in series. But most of the industries, 7 out of 10 industries, they need these fans in parallel only. We can see the exactly opposite, where the fan curve of the fans, it is automatically the high resistance is not there. So the low resistance of the system improves the operating point of the existing two fans, and ultimately parallel fans are suited to all the industries where the airflow changes has to be achieved, or the air changes has to be achieved. Parallel fans in many of the textile mills, they go for 2 fans or 3 fans or 4 fans to achieve this. Fan performance curve, if you have not taken from the industry, as an energy auditor, you go to the fan performance curve, or you suggest the industry, whatever the industry has bought the fan, don't buy this fan as a commodity, buy the fan performance curve. This will show what is the absorbed power of the fan in the top graph, and what is the static pressure, the mating point or the meeting point of the static pressure, and the maximizing the flow and the pressure for the given less kilowatt. This is the best efficiency point of the given fan. You can see the specifications of the fan. It has to be defined. Any OEM, the fan OEM is supposed to give this fan performance curve to the industry. It is a part and parcel of their spec to be delivered to the industry. It is not the question of delivering the fan, but they have to deliver the fan as well as to the fan performance spec to the industry. Okay, that is the aspect of blowers, condition monitoring of blowers, and especially the Pascal monitoring of blowers. Energy monitoring in blowers is that is the last this one. And let us coming to the compressor. Compressor also, what is the pressure to be maintained? What is the pressure demanded by the user? What is pressure demanded at the header? What is the pressure maintained at the generation? So any air that is compressed, so much of water due to the RH. The RH in the premises, say in Nagpur or Ichalkaranji, or in see in the coastal areas, almost 95% RH. Whatever is there, the RH, the daytime it's around 70%, and nighttime it's around 90%. The RH is variable factor, as well the temperature factor. So when the air is compressed through a air compressor, the water has to be removed in stages. If the water is not removed, then it will kill the pneumatic health of the given process. The pneumatic functions will get malfunction because of water ingress into the air system. So you have to remove in the post air cooler, we have to remove the water in the air receiver, we have to remove the air from the across the filters, the coalescent filters or the water separator filters, and then on the refrigerant dryer. In all the aspects, the water is removed, the pneumatic, the health of the system will be excellent for a given industry. What is a energy monitoring for a compressor is needed? This is thanks to NPTEL, National Program for our this one. Our government's instructions on all the equipments, on all the utilities, it is there. Maybe you have to go into the depth of the NPTEL this one programs. Yeah, any air compressor needs an air receiver, but this air receiver needs a temperature and pressure signal to the electrical control panel, where it needs to give alarm and shutdown condition. It can have 2 types of alarm. Two types of alarm to say if the temperature is normal or if the temperature is more. If the air compressor is not performing well, or the post air cooler after the compressor, within the compressor, if the post air cooler inside the compressor is not functioning well, the receiver temperature will shoot up. This is a sign or a symptom of inefficiency of the post air cooler that can be studied. And the pressure has to be maintained in the receiver, and being a volume, it's again we are using this. See, many of the laws like Charles law or Boyle's law, P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2 for a given PV is equal to RT. All these inputs, we are gas equations, we are using this here. Once the volume is expanded for the given pressure from 7 bar, it is given to some 1000 liter or a 2000 liter receiver. Straight away the pressure gets stabilized within few seconds. We want a pulsating, not a non-pulsating pressure to be given to the process. We don't want a pulsating pressure to be given to the process. Thanks to the thermal imager. The thermal imager is an invasive portable device where it can study all the aspects. It is not meant for an electrical room, or it is not meant for a powerhouse. It can be very much used in all your the process flow. Wherever the temperature gradients is changing, there it can be implied upon. The level of emissivity is auto controlled in a thermal imager. In a basic thermal imager, it is getting controlled, and you can measure the temperature of the in and out of any systems. Any dryer for the given process, as I was telling you, this is the dryer is used. It's a 1000 CFM compressor, means the dryer minimum those days, one decade back, they are using 1000 CFM dryer. But now the pressure drop across the dryer is going more, so they are going for 1300 CFM dryer. Why this 1300 CFM dryer is needed is when the temperature of the air inlet to the from the receiver to the dryer, it is going at 44 degrees. Straight away the dryer gets derated by 10 to 20%. So that is why we say the air temperature, delivery temperature after the post air cooler, it should be less than 5 degrees above the ambient temperature across the compressor house. Here the ambient temperature, what is the house temperature, everything is mattering to the compressed air flow. Compared to any variable or any flow in the process in a utility in the industry, compressed air is a dynamic variable where it is fluctuating very heavily. Normally the compressor OEM says, I am giving a 160 kilowatt machine, it is a 1000 CFM deliverable at watt pressure. And the FAD, the free air delivery at the nameplate of the compressor OEM says, either in meter cube per minute or in LPS, liters per second of the compressor air. This is following the standards IS 1217. I will suggest, let us all of us visit the IS 1217 standards. What is the ambient, what is the reference they are taking? What is the deliverable air's reference point they have taken from the as a OEM? They have taken the deliverable at the temperature of 20 degrees and at a relative humidity of 0 degrees. This is not going to happen anytime. But this is the reference point the compressor OEMs give their nameplate at say 160 kilowatt means 1000 CFM. Let us apply thanks to the airbus practices. See, we have to visit the global energy management websites. Lot of inputs are available to the industry or to the academics, to the professors, and you will find many of the inputs can be definitely be horizontally be deployed to the industry, where the tropicalized condition for an Indian climate, this can be adjusted to by the changes that is happening in the ambient, that can be corrected. See, the machine needs a steady input, but the cyclic changes that is happening in the ambient, that has to match to the steady input for the given machine. Sorry. Say a compressor has an FAD of 100 meter cube per hour, 100 meter cube per minute, sorry, at 20 degrees and 0 RH. But I am operating, my industry is operating the compressor at 35 degrees ambient at 70 degrees RH, means the FAD that is seen at the, this one is only at 91.4, it's only 92 meter cube per minute only. So it is a difference is there up to 8 to 10%. What is measured value at the air intake and what is measured at the delivery of the compressor at 6 bar or 7 bar, and the temperature, more than the pressure, the temperature at 45 degrees, the input temperature is 20 and the output temperature is 45. As I was telling you before on the blower, a 20 degrees air has an density of 1.1, sorry, 1.22 to be precise, whereas the density of air at 45 degrees is 1.09. Straight away you get the 10% difference, because if it's the mass flow meters, all the meters what we are using is mass flow meters. So wherever the density changes are there, ultimately at 30 to 40 degrees, that is why we always suggest to the industry, reduce the ambient temperature, or the compressor house temperature has to be on par with the ambient surroundings. Normally when you visit the industry, you will find the industry outer surrounding temperature on the ambient air, it will be around 40 degrees. Inside the compressor house, it will be 45 or 47. It is a bad practice. We have to tell the industry to improve upon the housekeeping to reduce the temperature inside the compressor house. So straight away 8 to 10%, the difference of flow monitoring, what is measured on the actual flow and what is told by the nameplate, this is there. That we have to accept it and we have to measure it, and accordingly we have to do the calculation as an energy auditor. So in the compressor, energy monitoring can happen at the generation, can happen at the distribution, can happen at the end, tail end. So arresting the leakage, this leakage is not visible. This leakage is not visible. And to tell you more visible, the leakage can become visible or audible to our human ears. Let us say it is a 2-inch pipe, 100 CFM air is flowing through. It is leaking more than 30 CFM, let us say 30% and above of air is leaking on a 100 CFM line pipe, 2-inch pipe. This is audible to our ears. Any airflow, any piping flow above 30%, above 33%, if there is a leak, that is audible to the ears. That is our human ears capacity. But we cannot rely on our human ears capacity. We have to go for a ultrasonic sonic imager to arrest the leakages where it is happening minute. Small drops make big ocean. What all the EESL, what all the TERI, what all the CAI, everyone talks about the compressed air leakage only. We have to go for ultrasonic sonic imaging to spot the leak hotspots, and that has to be arrested. You may have an excellent generation compressor which gives almost 0.15 kilowatt per CFM, but still, if you are leaking through the pipes and through the equipments, it is a big loss to the industry. It is a silent loss to the industry. Coming to the piping, where all you find the T connection pipings, it is a turbulence. Normally, the compressed air is supposed to be maintained. The velocity of meter per second to be maintained is around 6 to 10 meter per second is to be maintained as the velocity and the compressed air header. In the distribution, it is different. Around 15 meters, it can come more also. But many of your compressors on the compressed air header, I will suggest you to go for a compressed air flow meter to monitor the velocity, to know what is the velocity that is there, because all the GIS pipes, all the MS ERW pipes, earth resistance welding ERW pipes, they get totally corroded, totally scaled inside. Instead of a 4-inch pipe, you will have a 3-inch pipe only inside. Automatically the velocity will go up, and ultimately the compressor, the distribution loss will definitely increase. The pressure drop across end to end will definitely increase. Where all you find the T connection, that is a point of turbulence. In many of the industries, having replaced their T joints in the compressor house to these conjoining joints, I'll just show you the conjoining joint. This is on the water pipe, but the same thing can be done on a air pipe also. They have to go for a 45 degrees conjoining bends on the compressed air header. Straight away, it can give minimum of 5 to 10% savings depending on the turbulence that is there happening in the T joints in the compressor house. This ultimately a 100 kilowatt compressor is running means 50% only is made useful to the process, and in the process also only 10% of the input is only reaching to the real point of pneumatic amplification, pneumatic functioning. So the T&D losses and the leakages vary around 30%. It varies from industry to industry. If you talk in terms of textile mill, it is 30%. If you talk in terms of loom sector, airjet looms and other things, it is around 5 to 10% only. The leakage, you cannot generalize. Normally the energy auditors, they generalize, sir, the compressed air leakage will be 30% or 50%. It is not like that. In many of the industries, they are maintaining less than 10% also. It is a point to note by the energy auditor. Because of leakages in the compressed air header, on the piping, on the branch piping at the tail end, this compressor, it is it's operating from 160 kilowatt to 350 kilowatts. It's a 325 kilowatt machine, which is giving 2000 CFM machine delivery. Because of the leakage that is happening in the system and this cleaning air, they don't have a cleaning air receiver. You can see the pulsations. Automatically, this will be affecting the electrical distribution, and it is a big loss to the industry. They have to, they cannot afford to have a zigzag flow rate in the compressor. They have to make the pulsations, stabilize the pulsations. We always say, call it as a quarter decay rate. Yeah, normally it is a theorem by itself. You go by the quarter decay. Initially, it will start with 4 times the amplitude, then it will come to quarter decay. This quarter decay and this non-pulsation is mandatory for the given process or the industry. That is why we always suggest, when you go to industry, you always suggest them to go for 2 types of receiver. They call it as wet receiver or dry receiver, or you can call it as a demand receiver or a control receiver. This control receiver is to control the cut-in cut-out for the compressor, whereas the demand receiver will take care of the process. This is mandatory. You try to see, it is from the, again, it is from the air best practices guidelines only. This is very much available in all the, see, the compressor OEM always suggest you don't go for 2 receivers. They have stated that the efficiency of the compressor is excellent, but they always find a loophole in going for a only single receiver at the compressor house. It is a loss to the industry. You definitely need to have 2 receivers in the industry. That is why, in fact, I have been discussing about monitoring of compressor receiver, temperature, the water drain at the receiver, then the load unload hours, then the refrigerator inlet and outer temperature. What is ambient temperature? Plus 5 degrees, ambient temperature minus 5 degrees is the output of the dryer. The pressure drops, you have your pressure switches or a pressure gauge and a indicator. It's IoT. Thanks to IoT, incorporate the IoT devices at the end to end on all the main header and on the tail ends where the heavy withdrawal is there. When there is a heavy drop of pressure, it means there is a leakage that is happening. Unwanted leakage is happening, that can be corrected. So thermal imaging of piping and compressor parts is excellent, and sonic imaging of air leakage in the pipes and in the tube joints. You go to any machine control panel, all these pneumatic junction joints, lot of leakages are there because of bleed valves, non-bleed valves, these electrotype valves, puppet type valves. The leakages are more only in the machines than in the header or in the subheader. That you have to look into it. This can be possible only by sonic imaging. Ultrasonic eye is there, you can use that. It is available from 50,000 rupees to almost 15 lakhs. Depending on your requirement, you can choose the imager. What the reason for heat rejection, as I was telling you before, the heat rejection, 70% heat is rejected, that has to be evacuated out of the compressor house. Where you are doing the energy audit, suggest them to go for a 3-meter duct and put on top of the compressor skid. Automatically the hot air is taken to the top, and the compressor in the surroundings of the compressor is kept cool. Some of the just-in-time measures has to be done in the industry, in the utility, to improve the energy conservation and efficiency measures. The Pascal monitoring is possible in each and every compressor. If the energy auditor has not done that, let us do it now. The Pascal meter costs just less than 10,000 rupees. Have that Pascal meter and digitize the Pascal drop, pressure drop across the filters. This is a BOP compressor, Kirloskar machine, balance of piston compressor. Almost it is some 1500 Pascal is the drop. Normally the new filter has a drop of only 300 Pascal, and it is 5 times the drop that is seen in the compressor. Automatically this is a loss to the compressor. That is why one is monitoring the loss across the filter and suggesting the industry to go for V-type filter, that to 30 degrees V-type filter. 30 degrees the orientation of the V-type, so that you can increase the area of coverage of the intake, and you will have a PU mesh to reduce particulate matter in the air. And ultimately, this is daily washable and cleanable in the industry. And the existing main filter, that is a paper filter, it can come for 3000 hours with a, instead of 3000 Pascal as the pressure drop, you can maintain less than 1000 Pascal at the main filter. Having done the energy audit, we always suggest to the industry, this industry has done that, and they have maintained that 30 and they have maintained an excellent V-type filter, pre-filter, and a PU filter inside the hood. And see the first shift, this it's a GHCL, this one, Gujarat Heavy Chemical. This is a unit in Madurai. They have done this, and every shift the operator just cleans that free filter. He sees to it that the free air is delivered at the compressor intake always throughout the period of 10 years. Pascal measurement, thanks to our Dr. Sanjay Kit, he was mentioning, we wanted to have more inputs on the Pascal. 1 Pascal in 1 lakh Pascal. This is what the compressor is seen. It's a imported machine. This compressor, they are seeing the air filter around, it will be around 600 Pascal or 700 Pascal only. They are seeing this on a 1 lakh Pascal resolution. Automatically you will see only many zeros in the resolution. Ultimately the operator will assume it is perfect. So try to have it is a retrofit that is fitted. Now, thanks to our energy audit, I will always suggest to the industry, we have some of the IoT implementing service providers there. Once we suggested to them, he said, sir, it is a cost of available less than 10K only. We can provide that air intake delta P filter with a remote alarm at the cost of less than 10K only, 10,000 only. And this is prompting the compressor user is within the limit less than 1000 Pascal and not allowing the choke to go more than 3000 Pascal and all. We will not go by the OEM's instructions. We will also be better than the OEM's instructions. This is our energy auditors sessions. This imported machine where the air intake Pascal is not given a focus at all. We can see a small vacuum bulb gauge whether they are not choked. We removed that filter and we just inserted our digital Pascal gauge and we measured the Pascal. So instead of putting that, you put a connection and impulse connection and take it to outside the hood and then just leave it like that. This IoT device, this will show the compressor is healthy daily. This is what is wanted now. This is a 160 kilowatt machine, and here the Pascal is not monitored, means it is a loss to the system. Aggregated loss, aggregated aging to the compressor can happen only because of a starved intake at the air intake. The compressor usage and leakage. See, machine production, normal production needs only 50%, but you can see almost 30% goes towards leaks and inappropriate uses 10%. So leakage is a primary focus by the not only by the energy auditor. It is normally we suggest the industry to outsource the air leakage. An outsourced service provider agency, he will do a better job of finding the total leakage and try to give the corrections, and then we can maintain by ourselves. 1/8 inch of a leak, it is a 3 mm leak, almost it's 2.4 lakhs per year. This is what we have to focus the industry. In one industry in Madhya Pradesh, they have shared their blackboard and they have put a blackboard at the compressor user point. We are losing around 10,000 rupees per day because of compressed air leak. It is a input to the user to see that the leaks are not there, leaks to be arrested. The air gets silently drained out. Leaks can cause pressure drops in the compressed air header and increase the running time of the compressor, or it can shorten the equipment life of the compressor. Also, instead of a 22 kilowatt 2 machine, in fact, one of the industries we have gone, the leakage was more than 40%. The industry had 22 kilowatt, 30 HP machines were there. The management, they are going for the third 30 HP machine. They want to run 3 machines and 30 to 40% is going for the leaks only. Had they arrested the leaks, the payback is within few months, 3 months or 4 months, the payback is done. They could have avoided the buying of one more compressor itself. So the temperature and the RH for the ambient from 50 to 100 degrees, you can see 27 kg and 68 kg. This is the area, almost 100, it is getting doubled. So the seasonal RH variation between day and night time, between the internal this one place and a coastal place, all these aspects take place as such. Coming to the cleaning aspects, a leakage means a 6 mm hole leakage, straight away it goes to 104 CFM. You can see a 1/4 this one 6 mm hole, almost 104 CFM is getting lost. Whereas the case of a 10 feet roll or a 3 meter roll, you will find 27 CFM only is delivered at the end point, tail point. And that too, if you put a transvector nozzle, straight away that gives instead of 27 CFM, it consumes only 19 CFM. 40% energy saving is possible by going for this energy efficient nozzles. We always find the industry is using a blunt nylon hose. The blunt nylon hose, airflow across a 1/4 inch orifice itself is around 100 CFM. You will be running a 20 HP compressor and it will be going only for cleaning of a machine for the 20 HP. Instead, you go for this transfector nozzle, and on this one straight away from 100 CFM, 94 CFM, you can bring it to almost 60 CFM only will be consumed. 40 CFM you can save it. This is what the energy savings is possible in the application of compressed air. This industry was running a machine, almost a 37 kilowatt machine and a 37 kilowatt. They have two machines. For cleaning purpose, they are running two machines here. Instead of that, had they gone for a cleaning receiver, straight away the machine kilowatt will not shoot from 40 kilowatt to 80 kilowatt. They will maintain the same 40 kilowatt. The receiver will be there, a 500 liter receiver or a 1000 liter receiver for the cleaning application. It will maintain the flow by itself. Cleaning application will consume more of airflow and more of have a heavy pressure drop. The industry has to maintain a cleaning air receiver. It is a mandatory for the industry. In some of the industries, by fine-tuning the cut-in, cut-out, if you can see a single compressor, it will just run and off. It is a single point. First image, top image. If you have two compressors, the first compressor will be a base load compressor, and the second compressor will be a modulate. It will be on-off. The third image is two compressors running, and the third compressor will come on. In case of cleaning application like this, the third compressor will come on and off. Instead of that, have a base load and go for a VFD, and that VFD will modulate the second compressor, standby mains and standby compressor, that will modulate the compressor to maintain the cleaning flow as well as the pressure. But you need a cleaning receiver for this. You can see this industry, they are running almost, you can see the CFM consumption, almost 3500 CFM consumption is there, out of which the second compressor, because of cleaning and leakage, not only cleaning, because of leakage, from 500 to 1500 is the CFM, that is the drop or the fluctuations that is happening in this compressor. That leakage has to be definitely be arrested as such. In many of the industries, the old, a decade back, they are using this post-air cooler. In fact, it is a good idea. Instead of having an integrated cooler, post-air cooler within the compressor hood, you try to have the post-air cooler separately. If you want to maintain a deliverable temperature of 40 degrees, not to 45 degrees, if you have a post-air cooler, that will do a better job, and it will reduce the load for the refrigerant dryer also. It will instead of buying one more refrigerant dryer, you just go for a post-air cooler that will maintain the same dryer, but it will maintain the efficiency and the performance excellently. You can see the drop across the dryer. You can see what is the dryer, the pressure drop before the dryer and after the dryer, from 5.7 to 5.9. in many, see, this industry is very critical. They are monitoring all the aspects: pressure drop across the filters, pressure drop across the dryers, then the dew point, then the CFM, then the temperature, then the header pressure. Everything is monitored by this industry. So the water separator or the moisture separator has to be kept out of the compressor hood, and that has to be monitored correctly. If the monitor separator is not correctly operating, automatically you will find a loss, energy loss more in the system. It is an aggravated energy loss. You can see the NPTEL's flow chart. It says the moisture separator has to be kept after the after cooler, and it is kept visible to the operator. Daily he has to see that the moisture separator or the water separator is functioning well. So ultimately, this energy monitoring, it is a just-in-time preparatory measures only for the process. It is a retrofit to the existing process. So the condition monitoring route by energy conservation by condition monitoring only is the key to survival now for the given industry. Whatever that is the energy that is transmitted from the end to end, from the EB incoming to the delivery point at the tail end machine, wherever that is obstructed, either fully or partly, that is a hotspot. And that is a blockage of energy flow, means it is a loss to the industry. That has to be spotted by the infrared thermal imager only. Hotspot is a symptom of inefficiency or the energy blockage or the energy partly blocked. Normally, the energy conservation, law of energy conservation says whatever the energy that is inputted to the system, that has to come out as the output, or it has to partly it will come as 90% it will come as output, and 10% or 20% it will come as loss, and the loss will be seen as a symptom of loss is seen only by the hotspots. So always apply the law of energy conservation when you enter the system. What is input to the system, inputted to the system? What is the output from the system? What is the loss to the system? This is what we do the indirect way of energy efficiency calculation for a boiler in the industry, especially on the thermal side. Our Nagesh Kumar was discussing only about on the thermal side. Thermal side, lot of inputs are not made available to the industry. If that is made available thanks to the IoT devices which is embedded to the thermal system, definitely thermal system also can be very much improved, and condition monitoring can be done, and industry can very much improve upon it. At all we have to do in the industry is streamline the energy flow in the industry. There cannot be any blockage or part choke in the system. This any blockage in the system by way of sharp bends, sharp fittings, this and all cause almost 30% friction loss. This can be avoided. Yeah, 160 kilowatt machine delivering 1000 CFM, it delivers almost 3000 liters of water every week when it is running for 8 hours, so it is 1000 liters per water per week. If it is running for 24 hours, straight away almost 3000 liters of water is delivered. But you will find from this diagram, thanks to the good practice guide, it's an excellent guide where we can understand the post air cooler delivers the maximum water that is to be removed from the compressed air. So your post air cooler has to effective work in the compressor, and that is kept inside the compressor hood, and it is not accessible to the operator. That is the irony or the satire part of it. If the system post air cooler is made effectively working, then the compressor will perform excellently. Then comes the receiver and the pipe work, what is the water ingress. Then comes the refrigerant dryer. So the water has to be removed in stages, one from the post air cooler, then from the receiver, then from the dryers, and from the all the filters also. So instead of relying on the compressor OEM's red or blue or this band indicator, let us install pressure gauges at the upstream and downstream of any type of filter, any type of dryer. You know what is the pressure drop across the dryer, what is rated, and what is some industries maintain around 0.2 bar. I was showing you before. Some industries have more than 1 bar. It is a big loss to the industry. Almost 8% or 10% is lost because of dryer itself, because of a pressure drop itself. Thanks to this industry, these LS mills, we have done an energy audit, 6000 CFM they are consuming, and it's an excellent learning for us. The energy auditor can deliver more of his knowledge to the medium and small scale industry, and he can learn more. We can learn more in large profile industries, large scale industries. This industry, as I was telling before, monitoring the CFM, monitoring the dew point, monitoring the pressure drops across the filters, across the dryers, what is the ambient temperature, ambient RH, everything is monitored. And the Systel marketing, Systel compressor, this one, monitoring, they have done this retrofits. It is an excellent showcase study. We always tell, especially in the compressed air energy monitoring by condition monitoring. Thank you for giving this opportunity. In fact, what all I have discussed now, I have shared in my books. The first book is towards the energy conservation and management practical guide to any industry. This will contain all the utilities where the scope of energy saving is there from 10 to 30%. And the next book, it is specifically meant for textile mills, where it is concentrating on the waste collection systems, axial flow systems, on the ring frame systems, on the carding system. What all the textile mills they are using these machines, it is concentrating on this. Both the books are available for 300 to 350 rupees only. I am sorry I am promoting this. Please bear with me. I just wanted to share that what all that is shared in the webinars, I am just putting it in a nutshell. I am just sharing in the form of books. You can buy the book online. Thank you. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Any questions? I am open to questions.
Yes.
Now.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. It was very wonderful session, sir. You have covered so many parts from the textile portion, even that waste recovery, Actually, we came to know that how much potential is there in the waste recovery system, and we'll definitely go through that Sudhgirni, and again once again we'll go back to that, because we did that audit I think 3 years back in the Sudhgirni. Now with this orientation also we can do some different things, and by that we can achieve some around 10-20% at least in 2-3 portions, even the compressor also. Very nicely elaborated with the case studies, and this could happen only because of the exemplary experience, otherwise it is not possible. And even what you say is very correct, that yes, books are very good, sir. And I also appeal to all the participants, because what happens during webinar only will come to know what is happening, what can be done, but this much one time listening or watching of the webinar is not sufficient. Instead of that, one can put even that they can go through the college library, they can procure this book and keep in the college library, which would benefit to them to go for some of the projects, research kind of the projects at a degree diploma level, and there they can refer these case studies as a handbook, that all both the books, and these are very good, very informative and very motivating to do some activities in energy conservation as well as the audit. It was really, I'm quite happy with this your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving this opportunity, because as an energy auditor, I appreciate your sense of your feedback, because you are doing the energy audits in the field and you know the pulse of an energy auditor. We are always looking for ambitious energy savings on each and every equipment, but the industry is contented with the conservative energy savings. If the industry can change from conservative energy savings to ambitious energy savings, the industry can achieve more than what they have presumed. And you are here from the institution, and you are giving lot of energy audits to the industry. In fact, we are learning from you what we can collectively educate to the industry. And thank you sir, for your wonderful feedback.
Thank you. It's your kindness. It's your kindness, goodness. It is not so like this. It's honor for us that you accepted our invitation. All our IMP members accepted and deliver very nice case studies in front of the participants. So as academicians, we realize what is really happening in the industry and what we are learning, or what we need to deliver content to the students. That is very important in the changing scenario. Any questions from the participants? Jamadar sir, please.
Yes, sir. Is there any question from the participant? Please, you can ask directly or you can put it into the chat.
Chat box. Even they can put on our WhatsApp group also. We'll share this, Ashokji, and he will respond.
Yes.
All these questions.
Please, sir.
Yeah.
Please, sir.
And even sir, all your 3 sessions are entirely different. That would be a great resource for all these your participants, those who are even working in textile domain also. That would helpful. So accordingly, we'll make open these 3 your recording separately as a textile based other things. One was it was a general for the engineering. Even most of the case studies were related to the textile also. So that we'll share. Even we are going to share all the recordings with name, title, everything, so that everybody can easily access these recordings and they can use whenever they want. It would be in the open domain, public domain, sir.
But I should say one thing, sir. My sincere thanks to you for motivating this type of resource persons. In fact, I have seen your interaction with all the resource persons. The honor or the patience or the politeness, how you approach the resource persons, and you make us deliver more, and that is your quality, and the institution, you are achieving an excellent result in this webinar sessions. Thank you, sir. Thank you. It is all the root cause of this session is only because of you, and you have done an excellent job in knowledge dissemination to all the participants. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you. Jamadar, sir.
Thank you, sir. You have delivered
next session, sir. Just to do one thing, 2:15. Just will delay for 5-10 minutes. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Accordingly, just inform.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Thank you, Seturaman, sir. You have delivered very nicely, and the contents was very good, and also you delivered with the case studies that which help us to understand in very well manner. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again, and for giving your valuable knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, yes.
I conclude that this session is over, and the next session we will start at 2:15 p.m. sharply.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you
Okay,
once
sir.
again,
Thank you.
one and all.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes. Please.